Each one of us has an ecological footprint, an imprint of our own consumption. But take a step back and think about humanity's global footprint on the Earth. Humans have had such a massive impact on the planet. We have altered Earth systems so much that geologists have named the current geologic time period the Anthropocene, or the age of humans. This is the grand view of humanity's impact on the Earth. But what does this actually look like? In this video, I plan to introduce and explain one lens through which we can think about human relationships to one another and to the Earth: ecofeminism. Many of you probably haven't heard of the term, so let's break it down. The prefix eco comes from ecology, or the study of living organisms and their environment. Feminism, in its most basic sense, relates to the advocacy for gender equality and women's rights. But what do these two ideas have to do with each other? Using gender as a vantage point, ecofeminism examines the conditions that cause and perpetuate the subordination of both women and nature. Think about it as a lens for examining intersections of oppression, harmful practices that exploit the environment, and social structures that oppress women, among other groups, have an overlap, and that is what ecofeminism is all about. It is important to note that ecofeminism is an umbrella term that encompasses a plurality of ideas. It can be credited for such wide-ranging concerns, but this has also made it disjointed and hard to unify as a movement. Even so, it is useful as a feminist and environmental theory. If ecofeminism is an umbrella, what is the storm that it's resisting? Ecofeminists believe the larger structure of society is a system of capitalist patriarchy. Let's break this term down too. Capitalist refers to the economic system that derives profit from private production by keeping wages low enough that workers generate surplus value. Patriarchy is the systematic domination of women by men through institutions and ways of thinking which assign higher value, privilege, and power to men. As a whole, capitalist patriarchy is the ways in which capitalism gives men control over and access to resources not given to women. The result is that nature, as resources, and women, as workers, both function as means to a profitable end. Scholars like Drs. Vandana Shiva and Karen Warren highlight two key facets of capitalist patriarchy. First, it is maintained through value hierarchical thinking. This means that we organize society into hierarchies so that different groups or characteristics are considered more valuable than others. Second, many of these values are further organized through oppositional value dualisms. These are either-or pairs that are exclusive and at odds with each other. So if power is organized through hierarchies and opposing dualities, what are some examples? The most obvious is the gender binary, which values masculinity over femininity. Ecofeminism comes in when we conceptually link different dualities to reinforce the existing tiered structure. The specific parallel that I want to hone in on is between nature and women. Since we are living in the Anthropocene, it's no shocker that in this opposing duality, humans are valued above nature. Animals and plants are recognized as inferior beings with less worth and less dignity. That's how we justify factory farming, monoculture agriculture, and any other practice that wreaks havoc on the environment. Linguistically, women are linked to nature. Think about it. We exploit Mother Earth, we cut down virgin timber, and we plow fertile soil. We feminize nature and naturalize women, reinforcing their mutual subordination in the process. Empirically, women play a predominant role in agricultural production and the managing of household economies, especially in developing countries. Consequently, women are among the most vulnerable to droughts, storms, floods, and other environmental harms. For example, 663 million people across the globe, that's 1 in 10, lack access to safe water. In many developing countries, the burden of providing water for drinking, washing, cooking, and cleaning is placed on women. According to the World Health Organization, 3/4 of households without access to drinking water task women and girls with the responsibility of collecting it. This can mean walking miles and carrying heavy loads of water that often may still be contaminated. The UN estimates that women and girls often spend up to 6 hours each day collecting water. That's 42 hours a week, or the equivalent to a full-time job. This impacts girls' ability to go to school and consequently their upward social mobility in society. As climate change increases the severity of extreme weather events and water scarcity, it is the lives and livelihoods of women and girls that will suffer first and suffer the most. What about an example that hits closer to home? How we dress is a huge part of how we perform gender. For decades, the price of clothing has decreased while the human and environmental costs have grown dramatically. 97% of the items we wear are now made overseas, and 85% of all garment workers are women. With the rise of fast fashion, the average American now generates 82 pounds of textile waste each year, making fashion the second most polluting industry behind oil. It's a race to the bottom as global fashion brands seek out the cheapest and most exploitable labor in countries with the fewest regulations. Women are separated from their children, beaten when trying to unionize, and even killed in factory disasters. In the end, the cost of that $4 Forever 21 crop top is far more than we realize. But all is not lost if we remember that domination is neither justified nor inevitable. Capitalist patriarchy threatens all forms of life, human, flora, and fauna, but it is a system that we all work to uphold. Consciousness is a crucial first step in deconstructing the system and fighting these intersections of oppression. We must acknowledge that we are part of an interconnected system of life that supports our survival. Therefore, we should strive to live harmoniously, not as dominators, men over women and humans over nature, but as partners with every other life form on the planet. It may be the age of humans, but our story doesn't have to be a tragedy, and ecofeminism can help us write a new chapter.